So the next question is from my good friend Ben at Geeky Tech Geeks on Instagram. That's still probably my favorite Instagram name, at Geeky Tech Geeks. It doesn't get geekier than that. So Ben is over in Surrey, just outside of London in the UK. And his question is, how did you first discover ayahuasca? So the first thing is, if you want to read about my ayahuasca experience, go to freethewageslave.com/my-ayahuasca-experience, or just Google Free the Wage Slave Ayahuasca and you'll find it. Well, how I discovered it is a bit of a long story. My dad is what you could call a psychonaut, somebody that explores the other world through psychedelics. So he, grew up in the 70s and was part of that festival culture. So he was trying mushrooms and, various things like that. So I'd remember him talking about that stuff when I was a kid. It was always, quite an open household, but it never really appealed to me. I like to stay in control. So, ayahuasca was something I'd kind of heard about on the fringes of the culture. Maybe I'd seen a video on Vice or something, on YouTube, but it wasn't really anything on my radar. And I think I didn't find ayahuasca, but ayahuasca found me. And I do think that it does that. It comes into the person's life when they're ready. So for me in 2017, life got bad. And if you want the details, there's a blog post, freethewageslave.com/quitting-my-9-2-5. There's a lot of hyphens. Just Google freethewageslave.com and then quitting my 9 to 5 and you're going to find it. So life got bad. There was a breakdown and I then went to Dubai. So I kind of ran away from that life and I went to Dubai to work for 15 months. And what I thought was my savior was actually a hard time. I really struggled. I was working 80 plus hours a week, 6 days a week. I was alone on Christmas Day and my birthday in the desert. Didn't really make many friends because I was just working so much. And I left Dubai in May 2018. And I decided I'm going to South America. And I had a cruise booked with a friend of mine, Anne-Sophie. Shout out Anne-Sophie. We're going on a cruise through Panama, Colombia, Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao. And at the end of that cruise, I knew I was going to be in South America and I was probably going to Peru. Now, I actually never made it to Peru, but just the fact that I was going to Peru, somewhere in my mind connected to ayahuasca. And I remember Tim Ferriss, he interviewed Dr. Gabor Mate about ayahuasca. And just before I left for that South America trip, my good friend Stephanie at Project Glow on Instagram, she told me, look, if you're going to do it, that's okay, but make sure you're informed. Watch this interview with Tim Ferriss and Dr. Gabor Mate. And it was just wonderful. I watched it and I kind of put it to the back of my mind after that. I wasn't sure I was going to do it. Fast forward a couple of months and I was with my girlfriend Miriam in Cancun and she out of the blue in the kitchen one day tells me, hey, there's an ayahuasca ceremony. Do you know anything about it? And that was really where it became real. Before I knew it, I'd agreed to go to ayahuasca and it was just a totally life-changing experience for me. It completely transformed everything, my relationship with myself, with my parents, with my friends, my purpose in life. It didn't really change me, but what it did was it allowed me to understand other people's perspectives. I could feel their emotions and that feeling gave me empathy for them and forgiveness, and the anger dissipated, the judgment dissipated, and I think I just became a more well-rounded human being as a result of that experience. So that's how I discovered ayahuasca.